What's up, Daily Dose? Jeff Morris here, one of the pastors on the Vista campus, and I get to bring to you today a little devotion out of Galatians chapter 3. Now, I'm just going to read a few verses here and really try to sum up the whole chapter. But it says in Galatians chapter 3, verse 1 through around 7, it says, "You foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? Before your very eyes, Jesus Christ was clearly portrayed as crucified. I would like to learn just one thing from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law or by believing what you heard? Are you so foolish? After beginning by means of the Spirit, are you now trying to finish by means of the flesh? Have you experienced so much in vain, if it really was in vain? So again, I ask, does God give you His Spirit and work miracles among you by the works of the law? Or by you believing what you heard? So also Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Understand then, that those who have faith are children of Abraham." Now, Paul is speaking to the church in Galatia, and he says these very strong words. Actually, if you get into the Greek, it's almost as if he says, "You idiots, who tricked you? Who tricked you into thinking that your faith, that your relationship with Jesus was about following rules and following laws?" And he knew exactly who was tricking them. It was the Jewish Christians in the church who were still living by the law, who were still living by rules and traditions and routines, and they thought that they were good with God because of that. And they took the new Christians, the Gentile Christians, and they told them, look, you have to follow these rules. Now, I know that today we don't necessarily live by trying to follow the Old Testament laws and so on and so forth, but I wonder how many of us, we start to live our relationship with Jesus based on rules that we're trying to follow, routines that we're trying to, like checklists and to-dos that we're trying to get done, and we call that our relationship with Jesus. You know, Paul's telling them, look, don't be tricked. Did you earn this relationship? Were you able to do the right things in order to be accepted? No. We are simply accepted because Jesus loves us. And we are simply accepted because we believe. And so Paul appeals to them through Abraham. And why Abraham? Because Abraham was before the law. Abraham didn't have the law to follow. He didn't have scriptures. Now, I think it's great that we have scriptures because this helps us get to know God and gets us to hear what God believes and feels about us as well. But he's saying, look, Abraham just heard God and he believed God. His relationship with God was just based on a relationship with God. So do we have our own relationship with God? Do we seek Him for ourselves? See, one of the things I think is great is that Paul in Acts, I think it's Acts 17, but he talks about how the Bereans were more noble than I think the Thessalonians or whatever, but he says they were more noble because what they were taught, they would go back and they would search it out for themselves, and they would see if what was taught was true. They wouldn't just take it. They wouldn't just hear it go, oh, now I have to go do this, or now I have to go do that. But they were able to take it and own their own relationship. And I think one of I guess you call him a modern day prophet. His name is A.W. Tozer. Great book, by the way, Pursuit of God. If you have not read it, you need to read this. But he says this, "How tragic that we in this dark day have had our seeking done for us by our teachers." So let me encourage you, church, Christian, believer, daily dose, checker, outer, do the seeking for yourself. Don't let anybody trick you. Don't let anybody fool you into believing that your relationship is based on rules and traditions, or even now old church Christian traditions. But let your relationship be based on your relationship, your simple faith in a God who loves you and who knows you and wants you to know Him so deeply. So please, today, just take a moment. Just take a moment and pray. Take a moment and meditate on His Word. Take a moment and just seek Him just because. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.